What's going on, friends? This is Paul Hutchings coming to you with episode 47 of The Good Parts. And in today's episode, I want to share with you a few thoughts on how to deserve the best things that life has to offer. That's the topic. And I'm hoping that as you tune in and pay attention for the next couple of minutes, I can say a few things that hopefully can inspire you in life and business to go forth and definitely deserve and receive all of the best things that life has to offer. Before I get into the content, I do want to let you know that I have the ability to display your comment and your name and your picture on the screen if you're tuning in live. So drop a comment, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're on the replay, do the same, because I love to see who's tuning in. And Nick Romani is here today, always leading on my live. So thank you so much, Nick. It's good to see you today. Thanks for being here. And also, if you are, well, actually, I'll get to that a little bit later. So let's get right into the content, how to deserve the best things of life. So recently, just yesterday, actually, I made what is a pretty big purchase. I would call this kind of a luxury purchase. It's something that I'm really excited about. Although it was a lot of money. And I've thought about making this purchase for quite some time. And I actually was going to make this purchase a couple of months ago. I had it all loaded up, ready to click the buy button. And I talked myself out of it because I like to do the best that I can to be financially responsible and make good financial decisions. And sometimes from that mindset, when you're going to make a big, large luxury purchase, you know, your better self, I guess, you know, kind of catches you and says, "Are you sure you want to do this?" So anyway, yesterday I was back in this space where, okay, I'm ready. I want to make that. I want to make this purchase. It's going to bring a lot of joy to my life. It's going to enhance my family experience. And even though it's a large sum of money, you know, Paul, I think you kind of deserve this purchase. You know, like, go ahead, Paul, make it. You know, you work hard. You've done a lot of good things. Go ahead and make this purchase. And I was talking to my business partner in a chat, and we were kind of going back and forth. I was telling him about, you know, the situation as it was developing. And the night before last, I messaged him. His name's Mike. If you don't know him, he's awesome and amazing. Mike Hobbs, love the guy. Been business partners with him for over a decade. And I messaged him the night before last, and I said, "Hey, Mike, my wife Corrine said that I could go ahead and buy this because you know, I want to have my spouse on board. We want to be unified in our decisions." And so I'd let him know that. And then yesterday, as we were talking, I still hadn't made the purchase. And he made a comment in the chat that really affected me deeply and led to, in part, making the purchase, but also the inspiration for this live today and this content today. So I want to share with you the comment that I got from my business partner, and I'll just broadcast this up on the screen. He says, so you see his name, Mike Hobbs, 9:08 p.m. He said, "Well, period. You definitely deserve it." One short little sentence from Mike affected me in a really deep way. And I was thinking about, like, why did that affect me? You know, well, you definitely deserve it. One reason is because Mike knows me really, really, really well. He sees all of the many of, if not all of the efforts that I've put in on behalf of myself and our customers and my prospects for over a decade. So he sees me, and he sees all of the work that I do and the way that I try to do my very best to serve people and help people achieve their goals. So that's number one. He sees me. Number two, from that standpoint of seeing me and knowing me, he then made the comment, "You definitely deserve it." And I think a lot about, you know, and we hear a lot about deserve, you know, in the world, like, you deserve it. You deserve the best things of life. You know, you deserve to have all of the money that you want. You deserve to have all of the nice things of life. And on one level, I like to think that we all deserve the best that life has to offer. I like to think that. But on another level, there's another aspect to the word deserve, which means that you have actually put in the work to justify a reward. That's another aspect of deserve. So, in one sense, when we just say to anyone and everyone, you deserve it. You deserve the new car. You deserve the new house. You deserve all of that. You deserve to be happy. You deserve all of these things. On one level, it's a nice thing to say, and on one level, we're all humans. We all want the best that life has to offer. A great phrase that I really like from The Science of Getting Rich from Wallace Wattles is, he says, "I want for myself that which I want for everyone." So from that standpoint, if we want good things of life, we want everyone to have good things of life. But then on the other standpoint of it, really, when we look at how life works and we look at how business works, there's an aspect to deserve that is inherently connected to the work and the time and the dedication and the sweat and the blood and the tears and the service that one puts in over a long period of time. And that's the aspect that I want to talk a little bit about on this live today. That aspect of, how does one deserve, like literally deserve, and another thought that relates to this. I remember a story that Jim Rohn used to tell that has stuck with me for many years now. And the story, or the little example, is, he says, imagine a farmer walks out to a plot of ground, and he looks down at the plot of ground and he says, "Give me the crop. Give me the potatoes. Give me the grain. Give it to me. I need it. I need this crop to come." And Jim Rohn said, that's got to be one of the most ridiculous scenarios you could possibly imagine, right? And it is on a couple of levels. But Jim Rohn said, the ground does not respond to need. The ground responds to seed. So the ground looks back at the farmer and the ground says, "Hey, don't bring me your need, bring me your seed." And then when the farmer brings the seed, like my grandfather, he had a 100-acre plot of ground, 160-acre farm here in Southeast Idaho. And I never got into farming for one reason or another, but I always watched my grandpa. My grandpa was a lifelong farmer. And my grandpa would get up, early in the morning, crack of dawn. He'd be out on the field, fixing machinery, out on the field, all day till lunch. And he'd come back in the farmhouse and eat lunch with my grandma. And then he would go back out on the field and he's working outside, till dinner time. Then he'd come back and he'd have dinner. And oftentimes he'd go back after dinner, checking water. I don't know if you're familiar with farmers, but one of the things they do a lot is got to go check the water. You got to go check the dams in the water and make sure it's flowing well. And if a dam needs to be moved, got to move the dam. And that usually happened late in the evening or very, very early morning hours. And so for many, 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 many years, my grandfather passed when he was 100 years young. So for all of those years, I watched my grandfather bring his seed to the ground and deserve the crop that he was able to cultivate and to grow. So there's this aspect of deserve. So when Mike said, Paul, he said, you definitely deserve this big purchase. It affected me because it meant something to me, because it wasn't just some random person in a Facebook chat who didn't know me saying that in a kind way, like many of us do, but it was someone who's been on the plot of ground with me, plowing the ground with me, getting up early in the morning with me, working on the weekends with me, doing events with me. And he looked at me and he said, Paul, you definitely deserve it. And that just meant a lot to me. So I was reflecting on this, what did I do to deserve this nice thing? If Mike was telling the truth, and if I do deserve it, what makes me feel like I do deserve the good things of life when the opportunities present themselves? And I wanted to share just a few things as I look back over my story, and I come to the conclusion that I'm at today which is, man, Paul, you have worked hard. Man, you have done a lot of things to do things that might qualify you as someone who deserves the nice things of life. So, what are some of the things that I've done? Well, one of the things that I did when I was working in the job world is when I saw this path of entrepreneurship, I made the decision that I was going to step out in faith and I was going to take some risks. That's something that I think could be worthy of deserving good things. If you're someone who's willing to take some risks and step on the unknown path, what is the line from the poem? The road less traveled, two paths diverged in the wilderness, and I took the one less traveled, and it has made all the difference. See, when someone has the courage to travel a path that is not well worn, that is not the traditional path. The path that when you embark on this path, there's a lot of criticism and a lot of doubt that comes your way from all of the throngs of people that are on the other path. See, I face that, and many of us face that. And that, I think, to take that path and to say, you know what? I know everyone else is doing it this way, but I'm going to do it this way because I feel like this is the right path for me. And you're willing to endure the arrows and the bullets and the doubt that come flying at you from every which way, from family, from society, from your social circles. And you're willing to do that and stick with it. That in and of itself, I think, is a good thing to do to deserve the rewards that come on the other side of that. But see, that wasn't the full story. That was just the beginning. So I took the risk. But then what happened? I took the risk and I started taking action, and I failed miserably. My entire first year, I made no money on this new path. So not only am I facing the bullets and the arrows of criticism and doubt from people around me and in normal society, but now I'm starting to face the bullets and the arrows of criticism and doubt from my own self because I'm now on this path and it's not working. I'm not making money. What do I do? Do I quit or do I stay on the path? Well, that leads me to thing number 2 I did to deserve, or at least to classify myself as someone who deserves the good things of life, is I went through the doubts and I continued to have faith, even though my physical reality was telling me that my plan wasn't working. I stayed on the path. I stayed committed. I stayed dedicated, and I kept moving forward. And I think that's a good thing to do, to deserve something great. So I took the path less traveled. Then when it wasn't working, I didn't quit. I stayed persistent. I held fast to my dream. And that's another thing, I love the phrase. I think I coined this phrase: life without a dream is like breath without oxygen. I went for my dreams. I believed in my dreams, even though it didn't seem like it was working. I held fast to my dream. For the last over decade that I can remember, I've always encouraged people in my emails and in my Facebook posts and in my videos, whatever you do, always go for your dreams. And where does that come from? That comes from me always going for my dreams, even though sometimes it didn't feel like it was going to work out. I went for my dreams. So that's another thing I've done to deserve it. Another thing I've done is when challenges popped up, I finally started figuring things out. I was coachable. When things weren't working for me, I didn't blame the business. I didn't blame the world. I didn't say there's something wrong with everything and everyone else. I said, maybe there's something inside of me that just needs to grow a little bit. And I kept looking for lessons, and I would grab a lesson here and a lesson here, and I would apply it and try it out. And slowly but surely, things started to get better. Results started to happen. So that was another thing I think I did, and I strive to do today to deserve the good things of life, which is to be coachable always, to be humble always, which just means you're always teachable. You never get to a point where you say, I know it all. I love the phrase. There's a line in The Laws of Success from Napoleon Hill where he talks about how, many people will close the last page on the book of knowledge and write on it, finis, it is finished. I have learned it all. He says, you never want to do that because the book of knowledge is always, always open. So that's another thing that maybe I've done to deserve it, is always be looking for lessons, always be striving to pick something up for myself, but also for someone else. Can I learn to say something in a better way? Can I learn to express this truth that I've picked up that's been valuable for me in my life? Can I say it in a better way? Can I express it in a different phrase whereby it might have the chance to affect someone else that falls within the sounds of my word? So I think that's a really good thing. The other thing I want to touch on that has helped me get to a place where I think I deserve, the good things of life is, not only did I not quit when times got hard, I didn't quit when it made perfect sense to quit. When companies that I was in, they went out of business, they changed the compensation plan, they were doing all kinds of things that didn't feel like they were the right things for me and also the people that I was serving. And so in very, very difficult times like those, I chose to do the hard thing and create the thing that I wanted to have. With my business partner, Mike, we built a business from scratch because we couldn't find the thing that was in full alignment with our hearts. So that's another thing. And the last thing, I don't want to make this too long today, but the last thing that I'll say that for me has put me in a space where I do feel like I deserve some of the best things that life has to offer is, for as long as I can remember, when I got on this business path, in the beginning, I guess I'll qualify this. In the beginning, I was unsure. I hoped that it would work, but I wasn't sure if it would. And so I would try a little thing here and a little thing there, and that went for some time. But I finally got to the point where I said, I'm just going to give this everything that I have. I'm going to hold nothing back. I'm going to turn all of my lights green. I'm going to get rid of the red lights, and I'm just going to pour it all in. And from the moment I made that decision until today, I can honestly say that I give and have given everything that I can possibly think to give to my business, to the people that I'm serving, to my success, and to the people's success that are, intertwined with mine. I do everything that I can to help people win. I hosted a daily call for an hour a day for almost 10 years, and we still have that call going on. I still attend that call. We still show up every day to give, to give, to give. When I got started on this path, one of the things that frustrated me was people said, hey, we're in this to win it. We're going to do this. We're going to be in this long term. And sure enough, the people who said that left one by one by one by one. And I remember day one when I started this conference call, and I said the vision of this call that we're doing is to build lives of freedom for everyone that we can. And I'm going to be here every day. And I invite you to be here as much as you can. And we're going to be here, and we're not going to quit. And we're not going to be one of those people that said they were going to be here, but then they're gone. And I can't tell you how good it feels to know that over a decade now and counting, we have kept the lights on day after day after day after day after day. When we had lots of people on the call, when we had a few people on the call, it didn't matter because we'd made a commitment. We were going to be there for this worthy purpose, this worthy cause. And it feels amazing to be an example. And that would be another thing, I think, that maybe makes me deserve the good things of life, and that can make you deserve the good things of life, to be an example of strength, to be an example of consistency, to be an example of one of those people that's like a foundation under the pillars, a foundation that's under, it's like a pillar in the foundations of life. We need people, I think, that we can look to as sources of strength, of sources of consistency, of sources of, like my grandparents. I talked about my grandpa and my grandma earlier on. One of the things that has inspired me so much about my grandparents, and they're no longer here, is that their farm was a place of strength and stability for not just me, but for all of my cousins. And when my grandfather passed on, one of my cousins, Casey, over in, he's down in Salt Lake City, Utah, he wrote this big old long post about my grandpa's farm. And one of the things that he said in the post was, Grandpa and Grandma's farm was a place of trust, of consistency. It was a foundation. It was a place where no matter what crazy things were happening in life, no matter what crazy things were happening in the world, we could always make the trip to Grandpa and Grandma's farm. And when we got to Grandpa and Grandma's farm, everything else just went away because we were safe. We were in a space that we could trust, that was a foundation from which we could live our lives. And when my grandparents died, one of the questions that I asked myself was, what do you do when the pillars of your life are no longer there? What do you do? You know, they were such pillars of strength and example and light and consistency. I asked myself that question, what do you do? And the answer that I came up with was, you become the pillar. You grab the baton. You carry the torch. You be that example that they were to you in whatever ways that you can. I don't have a farm. I don't have grandkids, you know, but how can I take the essence of that goodness that they gave me and be that in my life in whatever way that I can? And in my way that I strive to do it is through some of the things that I've mentioned. When I say I'm going to do something, when I start a conference call, when I start a business, when I start a company, it's got to be like my grandparents' farm that's going to be there for people to count on and trust long term, because there are too many examples in the world of the opposite of that. Here today, gone tomorrow, say one thing, do another, you know? And I don't think those examples are good examples. I don't think they inspire the best in what people need and want. I don't think they bring out the best in people. So for some, these are some of the things as I look back over my journey that I get to a point where I say, yes, I do deserve some of the great things that life has to offer. And I wanted to share this message in this live today, not to brag, not to say, hey, look at me, because the reality is the past is somewhat irrelevant. Anything that I've done in the past up to this day, yes, it's great. Yes, it's fed into who I am, but the past is gone. What matters today is today. What matters tomorrow is tomorrow. So regardless of everything I've said about myself up to this point, you know, hey, the journey is still going on. The game is still on. You know, we're still on the court, scoreboard here, scoreboard here. It ain't over, right? So I've got to continue to do some of the things that I've talked about today. And what I really want to do today is inspire you to do some of those same things. You know, can you take some of these things that I've mentioned that make me proud, that make me feel so thankful when my business partner says to me a simple sentence like, well, you definitely deserve it. Can you take some of these things and can you apply them in your life and your business? And can you shine a brighter light? And can we shine a brighter light together? And can we be the change that we wish to see in the world? Not complain about everything that's going on, but can we grab those batons of light and show up and shine in the best way that we can? I think this is how the world gets better. I think this is how we have a positive future to look forward to individually and collectively. So those are my thoughts today. I hope they've added some value to your life and your journey forward. And I have not looked at the comments yet. So hopefully there aren't a bunch of, not good comments. I know they're not, because the people that are connected to me are amazing people. So I'm going to look at those. But I do want to just real quickly say that if you're finding me for the first time and you got value from this content and you want to get more content from me, I would love to encourage you to subscribe to me on social media. I do this Good Part show every day, Monday through Friday. And also, if you want to make sure that you get content from me and not miss it, thanks to the algorithm craziness, I would love to encourage you to visit my website, paulhutchings.net/GIFTS. Pick up a cool free gift and you'll be subscribed to my email list. So with that, I'm going to jump over to the comments here and see what the people are saying. So, hey, Tina, she says, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you. Danny says, happy Monday. Need some inspiration from Wisconsin. Awesome, Danny. Well, hopefully I delivered some of that today. Bill Darton says, good morning. Good morning, Bill. Marion LaSalle says, so happy you are here, Paul. We love you. See, Marion's another one that I feel knows me, and I feel I know Marion. So when she says, we love you, it really means a lot. So thank you, Marion. Nick says, it's mysterious waiting. Billy says, it is because of all the good you delivered to the world. Thank you so much, Billy. Mike Hobbs says, yes, so cool you were able to get this. I know you've been talking about this purchase for many years and you put in the work to get it. And I did put in the work, and so did Mike, and we're going to continue putting in the work. Nick says, yes, you deserve it for that reason that Mike said. You have bent over backwards for people and haven't slowed down in serving people and continued doing it like it was the first time and with amazing enthusiasm. Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate that very much. Veronique says, hello from Belgium. Hey, Veronique. Gail says, the word deserve scares me. Could be positive or negative, but for you, it is definitely positive. One of the hardest working positive people I know. Thank you so much, Gail. Tina says, the ground does not respond to need. The ground responds to seeds. So good. Isn't that so good? Thank you, Mr. Rohn, still inspiring us from the great beyond. Rob Daniel says, it's connected to self-worth too, which is low in many people because of the past and early experiences that aren't effectively dealt with. Very true, Rob. And, the great thing about self-worth is how I see it. Self-worth is a daily thing. You wake up in the morning, it's a new day. So regardless of what happened in the past, today is a day where you can build self-worth in yourself, and I can build self-worth in myself. Every day is that way. And if I get to the end of a day and I've done nothing of value, and I try to teach my kids this, and this is a hard one, for kids to get, because they like to wake up and sit on the couch and look at their phone and watch TikTok videos, and man, hours and hours and hours. And if you're not careful, a whole day can go by and that's what you've done. And you get to the end of the video. I got a little feedback here. You get to the end of the day and you've added no value. How do you feel about yourself at the end of that day? Your self-worth is low. But if you've done things of use during the day, at the end of the day, your self-worth is great, right? And it's a day by day by day by day thing. So thanks, Rob, for that insight. Danny says, it does make you think when someone says you deserve it. I think we need to reward ourselves once in a while. Yeah, we definitely do. We do. I picked up a lesson from a mentor a while back that says, when you set a goal for yourself and you put in the work to achieve the goal, it's really important that you reward yourself, because if you don't, you're unconsciously telling yourself that there's no payoff, for putting in all of that work. So I really like that thought. Rob says, you're worth it too. Thanks, Rob. So are you. Rita Joy says, yes, we are all worthy of love and happiness. Amen to that. I definitely agree with that. Nick says, as considerate and good-hearted as you are, you deserve a jet. Thanks, man. Appreciate that, Nick. Really young. Someone says, Christian says, I'm grateful you stayed on the path, Brother Paul. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful for you and that you helped me to stay on the path, Minister Christian. Debbie Wood says, my mother always taught me, and I live by it, that when something bad happens, immediately start looking for the good. There you will always find the lesson. So wise. Agree 100%, Debbie. Danny says, I'm staying on the path, but I'm getting hungry. I need to find some berries. Well, what do we need to do, Danny, to help you find some berries? Let me know. If I can do something, teach something, say something, I would love to do that. Rob says, very powerful, Paul. Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate that. Sean says, you are a pillar in your life. Thank you, Sean. And yeah, we all are pillars in our own lives for sure. Christian says, thank you for being an example and a pillar. Thank you, Christian. Linus says, your story made me feel it. Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Gio says, true, Paul, we are rock solid and we are here to grow together. And you have thousands of people who believe in you and Mike. Imagine that. Thousands of people who believe and are here for you. Wow. Well, thank you, Gio. And I believe in you and we believe in you, and together we can do more. So I appreciate that so much. Nick says that's very heartbreaking, but yet uplifting. And yes, can be proud of the baton. And the way you can make your grandparents proud is to pass that legacy on and be the one. Yep. Yep. Danny says, you inspire me daily. Awesome. Thank you, Danny. Jeff Topper says, thank you for sharing. I've been inspired by your comments today. Paul, your example gives me strength. Thank you. And you do deserve it and so much more. Thank you, Topper. I really appreciate that. Kevin Coe says, yes, delivered. Thank you, Kevin. Arnita says, when you are inspired, you are in spirit. I think that is very, very true. So that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all of the great comments. Get out there, take action, go for your dreams, build your self-worth, be a pillar in your life for yourself and those looking to you for leadership. And love you guys. Hope to see you in tomorrow's episode. Take care and bye for now.